Road to Perdition was directed by Sam Mendes and stars Tom Hanks, Paul Newman, and many, many other famous people. Road to Perdition is a father-son story where a mob enforcer seeks vengeance on the man who killed the rest of his family during the Great Depression. I have become a pretty big fan of Sam Mendes over the last couple of years. Obviously, he directed Skyfall, which I think is his best movie. I'm also very fond of Revolutionary Road, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. But Sam Mendes has directed some movies that I'm not the biggest fan of, like 1917. Every director has a movie or two that a lot of people don't like. Even some of the biggest directors have movies that some people aren't a fan of. Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, I was not a big fan of Dunkirk. It happens. It's impossible to have every single movie a director makes as good as each other. And in this case, I don't think 1917 is as good as movies like Skyfall, Revolutionary Road, or even Road to Perdition. This film came out in the year 2002. It's currently on Netflix, and I have no idea why it took me so long to finally watch it. It's been on my radar for the past year or so, and I've always wanted to check it out because it's directed by Sam Mendes and has an awesome cast led by Tom Hanks, who is the main character in this film. And this is by no means a typical Tom Hanks performance. When you usually see a Tom Hanks movie, you might expect Mr. Rogers or to hear the voice of Woody from Toy Story. But in Road to Perdition, Tom Hanks plays a completely different character. I'd argue a character we've never seen Tom Hanks play before. A very reserved character that doesn't say too much but is always uptight. You can tell that he cares a lot about his family but doesn't show emotion towards his kids or even his wife. The rest of the cast includes several major stars like the legendary Paul Newman in his last big movie. He also played Doc Hudson in Cars, but this was his last major role in a live-action film. We also get the likes of Jennifer Jason Leigh, Daniel Craig, Kieran Hines, despite being underutilized in this movie, and Stanley Tucci along with Jude Law. Road to Perdition features the best cast ever compiled by Sam Mendes, and there is not a single bad performance in the movie. Everybody, in fact, is at their absolute best, and it elevates this movie. What I really like about Road to Perdition, though, is the setup. After our characters are established, the deed is done by Daniel Craig's character, who kills Tom Hanks' character's family, and right from there, we are into the movie, and it never lets up. Instantaneously, there is that feeling of let's go, and there is a lot at stake in this film. Usually when a double cross occurs in a mob movie, it doesn't happen like this. So we never feel like our main characters are safe wherever they go. And we know this because everyone Mike Sullivan seeks help from, he gets turned down by. So this film is practically just a father and son versus an army of unlimited hitmen. There is never a feeling of the character's safety. You always think something bad could happen to this father and son the entire way. As mentioned before, this is a very dark film compared to what Sam Mendes is usually directing. Typically, in a Sam Mendes movie, there's a lot of colors, but in this film, they use colors that come off as very somber and dreary. This was definitely Mendes' darkest movie to date, and the tone was captured well because it takes place during a very dark time in American history, the Great Depression. I even really like how the title, Road to Perdition, has a double meaning. Perdition is a place our two main characters are trying to go to get away from the mob. And according to the definition of perdition in Christian theology, it's a state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes at their death. Yeah, well, there's a word that goes really well with this movie. It's definitely the word perdition. Nothing else could ever be better chosen for the title of this movie than Road to Perdition. I did want to keep this review spoiler free. I did not want to give away too much about the plot because the film is on Netflix. I do recommend you go check it out. It's definitely worth your time. I think it's one of Sam Mendes' better films. But I do have one problem with Road to Perdition, and it's the ending. Everything is great until the climax. And when we get to the climax, you're expecting something that's going to pay off and you're going to walk away feeling so satisfied that the movie is just about perfect. But this ending, I thought, was pretty anticlimactic. It wasn't handled, I think, as well as it could have been. Definitely should have been a bigger payoff by the end of this film than the payoff that we got, which really wasn't much of anything. I'm not going to let that knock down my score too low, though, because I really did enjoy Road to Perdition. Tom Hanks gives a performance unlike anything else I've seen him give before. The rest of the cast is mesmerizing. Daniel Craig is in this movie. I barely touched on him. Just let the movie do the talking for itself in regards to his character. It's a very dark film. It's one of Sam Mendes' darkest movies to date. The tone is captured exceptionally well. Road to Perdition is a movie I do recommend you check out, especially if you like mob and revenge movies. I'm giving Road to Perdition an 83%. Alright, for those of you who have also seen Road to Perdition, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are of it. Do you think it's Sam Mendes' best movie, or do you think it's one of his worst movies? If you're new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.